I feel nauseous, believe me. Never had a lot of shit come easy. Had to work hard, struggle just to be me. Had to rise up just so they could see me. Did what I had to do just to feed me. And what was left over I put towards my dreaming. But the only thing in life that has meaning are the things you gotta work for, believe me. Take into your hands a plan. Your own hands can land your own brand. And damn, I feel like no one takes accountability. They want the credibility, convincingly unwilling to put in the fucking hours it takes to get some power. Don't be fucking sour, take a cold shower. Scream until you're louder, work until you're prouder. And fuck all the doubters.
Ladies and gentlemen, here he is, the man himself, Tony Danger, on the Tony Podcast.
I'm pissed off.
Enjoy the video, folks.
Who were all taught they deserve an ounce. It's only worth it if you work for it. It's only worth it if you work for it. I won't stop till they hear me now. I won't stop till I wear the crown. I'm just telling you to fight for your dreams, but it's not what it seems. Man, it's hard to be seen when everybody wants to be king. Yeah, they all...
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Tony Danger 33 here today with the Tony World Podcast. So today I'm going to be talking about my experience with high school. So I went to Barnhill Community High School. So I would say the first few years, I think it was year 7, I kind of had so many issues with teachers, because I think there was one teacher that I remember who was, I would say, I didn't have an issue, she was alright, but there was some, like, I don't know how to put it. To be honest with you, it was just really hard just to I was trying to make sure to get to lessons on time, making sure. All I'm going to say is the playgrounds in that school was so weird, because the higher years had the other playground and you could only be in that place. And then basically the kids that were in the year below were in the other playground. So basically my experience in Barnhill Community High School was a bit of a struggle. So I was really anxious. I was very anxious quite a lot. And the classwork was hard. The teachers, I remember I went through about 3 English teachers during one of the years I was there, because I think some of the teachers decided to give up. And I think I got to a point I think it was just really difficult to learn, because there were so many people that wouldn't give the teacher a chance to talk, and it was just like, just shut the hell up and let the teacher speak. I want to get my GCSEs and stuff like that, and it was crazy. But because of the fact that, it was eventful and difficult and other stuff like that. So basically year 7 was hard because I had a lot of issues with some of the students in my class, because they kept picking on me and bullying me, and they kept making fun out of my head, my name, my last name, my height. I don't know, it was just really stupid. I think at one point I actually got severely angry at one point, and I just, I didn't say anything. I just basically just shrugged it off and just walked away from the situation, which is basically what I learned when I was in therapy. I did walk away from the situation, but there were times where I couldn't actually go anywhere, because the fact that there were times where I had to sit in the class and I'd be like, what to do, innit? So then when year 7 ended, I ended up being in year 8, and so I'm in this. All I'm going to say is I struggled quite a lot, because most of these kids had a reputation for rubbing people the wrong way, if you know what I mean. And I'm gonna I'm gonna I'm gonna say a story here and now. Um, when I was in year 8, there was a girl. I think her name was Ruba. I think, and I was just being generally nice. Is all I'm gonna say. And in my honest opinion, and I'll say this here and now, I think she was trying to flirt with me. So I got in the next day, and then she tries to pick holes at me for some bizarre reason. So I turned around and said, "Well, that wasn't what you said to me when you were talking to me." And all the girls looked at me, and then looked at her, thinking, you know, who knew? So yeah, then I had that. I think at one point I don't know. Then I had another girl had a crush on me or something like that. I think it was a girl that I knew in maths. I think her name was Kirsty Golly or something like that. There were two Kirsties, so I'm not gonna sugarcoat it or whatever. But you know, that's all I'm gonna say about that. Um, it was I don't know. To be honest with you, I didn't have a thing for her because I thought she was I don't know. She was kind of like rude, and I didn't really like her in that kind of way. And plus the fact I never spoke to her as much. So I can tell you this: throughout most of the years of high school, I kind of enjoyed PE because of the fact that there were plenty of activities to do, and because I was getting so stressed out, I used that fuel to fuel that I would say anger quite a lot to get myself over my shit every day. And I remember at one point I was being bullied so much. I think it was in year 9. I think it was year 9. I think I got to a point where I was sitting in the lesson, and I had all I'm gonna say is I had finally had enough, and I basically the guy wouldn't stop talking, and I know who it was. I can't remember his name. It's hard to pronounce. Is all I'm gonna say. It's a really hard name for me to pronounce. That's all I'm gonna say about it. And he wouldn't stop talking. I said once to be quiet. I said twice to be quiet. And then I got to a point where I got up out of my chair. I flipped my chair over and I turned around and said, "You better shut the fuck up right now because I want to bloody learn something, you piece of shit." And all I'm going to say is the whole class went silent, completely silent. And my LSA was trying to hold me back from doing something because my fist was almost about to punch him in the face. All I'm going to say is that was the first time in years that I had actually stood up for myself. And all I'm going to say is it felt good, but I got upset afterwards because I was scared of what had just happened. And the emotion of it just hit me like a ton of bricks. And yeah, it was like a weight had been lifted over my shoulders for so long. And yeah, I think I think that was year 8. So let's get into I think it was year 9. I think I don't know. My form tutor was quite. I'll say he was quite a respectful teacher or tutor in my honest opinion, because he always wanted 100%. Is it acceptance or excel in all the things that you do? So he expected excellence, and all I'm going to say is it was so difficult trying to live up to an expectation. And I remember I was having trouble trying to read in the lesson, so I just basically just skimmed through the book because the fact that I was having trouble trying to read it. I tried reading it in my head, but I was struggling, so I just skimmed it and just flipped through the pages. So that was year 9. So I think when I got to year 10, I was told specifically that some of the work I was going to be receiving was going to get harder. And also we had a little science fair or some rubbish. And I remember I had this teacher. He was a maths teacher, and apparently he was supposed to be good. And I basically was struggling, and I asked him for help, and I don't know, he was just really, really rude, and I was asking for help, and I had no LSA, so I'm sitting there thinking, well, okay, so what the hell am I supposed to do about this? Because some of the stuff that I saw in there was too complex for me. So I was struggling to finish the work, and I'm sitting there thinking, well, what the hell am I supposed to do now? And I'm like, you know. So basically, Year 10, I would say, I think it was quite hard because of the fact I was being picked on because I had people saying, "Oh, you have feelings for this girl, you have feelings for that girl, you have feelings for that other girl." Honestly, I was. The truth is, I was trying to cover up for the fact that I had a crush on a girl called I think her name was Elhon. I think. Um, so yeah, I had a thing for her. I never fully admitted this. I never told her because I wouldn't say I was insecure. It was because people were picking on me and poking holes at me and stuff like that, which was kind of a fucking piss show. So I was like, I might as well just get over myself and move on. So that's what I did. So this Elhon girl is now officially, I think she's now, last time I spoke to her, she was getting married. So, good on her is all I'm going to say. And so that's that story over. So this was year 11. So year 11 of Barnhill Community High School in the UK. So I I put in a lot of hard work into all the stuff I was doing. I think I got to a point where I ended up asking one of my the people who help with support in exams, and I think that it was to do with doing one-to-one interventions with one of the LSAs to help me out with my work. So that helped me quite a bit. So basically, on my last year of year 11, I had tried to convince the head of the I'll say people, the head of the department who dealt with exams and autistic kids and people who were struggling. And she asked me quite a few questions, and I turned around and said to her that there were a lot of kids that sat in exams who struggled extremely badly with sitting in I would say it was a ginormous sports hall and sat in that room to do the exam. And I basically turned around and said that the exams were quite difficult and that it needed to be put in place to help secure and help other people with that kind of thing. And she also brought up the fact that you could do some of your work by speaking to the computer, which was one of the new things she wanted to put in. And she asked for my advice about it. So I thought it was a brilliant idea because the fact that there were a lot of students that had trouble trying to read and write, or to write. So basically, that was put in place for people who took the exams. So then the exams came around, and all I'm going to say is I put 1,000% into my exams. I can tell you is the one thing the exam I hated the most was history. So with history, it was a 2-year course, and I had to do it in 1 year. So I was thinking to myself, well, what the fuck am I supposed to do about this? How am I supposed to get this done within a year? And I didn't know what to do. So it wasn't even, I think, in my honest opinion, it wasn't even to do with history. It was all about medicine through time and stuff like that. I'm thinking, why don't you talk about subjects with like America, stuff that's happened in the UK, the Roman Empire, all that kind of stuff. Simple stuff. But no, this had to be medicine through time. So it's basically talking about medicine through time with the Egyptians, and it was so complex that half the people in my class did not understand what we were supposed to do. So it was a bit of I would say a piss taken is all I'm going to say. So then that happened. So let's roll up to my second prom. So this was my Barnhill Community High School prom. So this was the second prom I actually had went to. And a lot of people started assuming that I was going to go with someone. And I chose not to. I was the first, my mum had, and I'll say this now, my mum dropped me off, and I showed up, I think it was an hour early. I showed up an hour early before because the fact that I didn't want to talk to anyone, I didn't want to see anyone, I just showed up an hour early. So that's what I did. No one actually realised I was there apart from a couple of people that knew me. So I showed up an hour early and I just spoke to a few people when I was there. So yeah, I had some of the food that was at that prom, and all I'm going to say is I think it was a fudge fudge cake or something like that. It was absolutely disgusting. I only had like one bite and then I put it in the bin afterwards. It was revolting to eat. So basically, I remember. I think no one really knows about this, and I didn't know about this either. About half the people who were at that prom that I was at, were actually drunk. I didn't actually drink any of the stuff there, but most of the people were drunk, including some of the teachers. And I basically was sitting there thinking, what the hell is going on here? Because I didn't know this at the time. And I don't think any of the teachers knew either. So, long story short, that shit happened. So I'm letting the cat out of the bag. So all I'm going to say is I just sat there laughing because it was quite funny actually. Because the amount of shit that I saw when I was sitting on I just sat on the chair and just relaxed. I was just sitting in my grey suit and my shoes and stuff like that. And then I think if I remember, I think it was an award ceremony or some crap or some bollocks. And there was an award that wasn't even supposed to be announced. But all I'm going to say is I actually received that award and I still have it. I still have the award. All I'm going to say is I got eyed up by, I think it was two girls, I got eyed up by. I don't know their names exactly. But yeah, I got eyed up by two girls, and I was like, well, you picked holes, you said this and that, move on, blah blah blah. So basically, that all happened. So now I'm going to talk about I would say relationships in Barnhill Community High School. I would say, I think I remember. I think it was year 7. There was a girl named, I think her name was Isabel, and for some bizarre reason, I had no idea who she was when I first met her. I do now because she had a reputation for how do I put it, rubbing people the wrong way is all I'm going to say. So this girl Isabel started flirting with me. So I didn't in year 7. So I tried to find out who this person was because I had no clue. I didn't know why the hell she was talking to me. So I just basically wasn't interested. I said, you and me don't ring a bell. So I left it the way it was. And then basically halfway through the end of the year, she tried to flirt with me again. And so I'm thinking, well, what the hell is going on here? And I was just like, okay, fine. So then that all happened. And then I think we were in Barnhill Park, Barnhill Park in the UK. And it was an extremely hot day and my face had gone completely red. My face wasn't peeling. My face went completely red. And then she basically grabbed my hand and then she stroked my face for some reason and then kissed me I think she kissed me on the lips. I can't really remember. Then that all happened and then I just, moved on. And then I think there was another girl. I think her name was Maya. All I'm going to say is I didn't have feelings for her. I thought she was extremely weird because I remember at one point she used to show up to high school with, I think it was like, she used to show up with sweet sugar, energy drinks and stuff like that. And basically in year 7, she got barred she basically got, her mum got called in and she got banned from, bringing stuff in. So basically, what does she do? She copies me by bringing in a bottle of water because out of most of the people in my class, I was the only one that brought a bottle of water. So she decided to copy me for some reason. So that was a bit bizarre. And I think I remember I was in a science class and I wasn't feeling too well. I had a runny nose and I was, not feeling well. And because I had to come in and I felt hot and sweaty and all that shit. So she decides to kiss me on the cheek for no reason, and I'm sitting there thinking, what the fuck? I'm thinking, me and you don't have any interest. You have a boyfriend. I'm not interested in you, but you can just, yeah. From what I found out, she was dead to do it. And to be honest with you, all I'm going to say is, if you don't want to do it, then don't do it at all, is all I'm going to bloody say. If you don't want to kiss someone, don't kiss them. Don't kiss them on the cheek. And I think I spent most of the hour trying to rub my face off. I think by the time I got home, I took about 2 showers to clean my face because the thing is, I don't know where her lips have been because the fact that, she had a lot of stuff, that's all I'm going to say. So then that all happened. all I'm going to say is that I think most of the girls that I knew in my year, I didn't want anything to do with them. I remember at one point they thought I was gay because I did something in a lesson. I'm not going to get into it, but it was kind of weird and stupid. I was just doing it as a laugh, as a joke. All I'm going to say is I'm not gay. I am straight. I do like women, and I do like women. So that's what I'm going to say about that. So I think now I'm going to end it off here. I hope you guys have enjoyed the Tony World podcast, based on my high school experience, or my honest opinion about my high school experience. And yeah, hope you guys enjoy this video, and I hope to hear you listen to this podcast again. So this is Tony Danger signing off. Always remember to believe yourself and rock on. And always remember to follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, so you can see more of this podcast and all of my other videos. So, see you in the next one, folks. Bye!